minutes.
Oh, we're
I don't know
live.
that anybody
Get
else is
started.
coming. I think the only, are we only missing Andrea, or are we missing, we're missing two others, aren't we? One of which who isn't gonna show up. So if there's one more person coming, it'll be from Exeter's side. Jim, there you go.
Andrea is away, but she said she would call in if she was needed for a quorum to be present.
I'm missing one, two. We're only missing three. I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good. All right, I'm gonna get started. Call to order at 6:04. Jeremy, do you need to start anything?
I already did.
Perfect. All right, let me just pull up the agenda. All right, who's going to give the HVAC contract update?
I can walk us through that, James.
Okay.
So there is a document that I sent over. The HVAC contract, again, both of these, the original contract went through legal, they were okay with it. And then there was discussion about the substantial completion date at the last meeting and what that meant. Toronto Architects and EDS had verified that that would be substantial completion, means that it's operational as intended, and it's more about the shakedown after that before they turn it over to us. They, ATC wanted to move the date to 10/15/21, October 15th of 21. And that was the give that we gave them to, you know, keep this thing moving. But the get that we got, you know, from the owner's side is that if the baseboard heat is needed prior to 10/15, they'll coordinate the effort to make sure we have that. The big thing is, if we get a cold spell early, we want to try and heat the building and not have a disruption. So they're going to work with the baseboard if we need to make sure we get heat into the areas, which would cover probably, I don't know, Steve is not on the call, but it's probably over 90% of the building. So we should be okay.
I'm on the call.
Oh, you're there, Steve? What would
Yeah.
the baseboard cover? About 90% or?
A little more than that. There's probably only about 6 rooms that aren't really on it.
Yeah. So that was the get that we got from them in order to give them the 10/15, which was really no choice. So with all that in mind, I gave that to Andrew, our HCL, our legal, and they said, you know, go forward if the committee and if this is what it's got to be. So that's the change order. The no dollar value change order.
What's the lead time on the handling units?
I want to.
So he said end of September, Bob, is that right?
Yeah, I'm trying. There it is. The project schedule I sent.
Looks like the earliest would be August 20th, if I'm reading this schedule right.
Correct. New RTU units, James. Item, what would that be, 19?
Well, if they arrive August 20th, there won't be a problem. But if they come in the end of September, you'll be lucky to have that thing running by the 1st of November.
Yeah. So, you know, that's what they have on the project schedule for arrival is excuse me, is 8/20.
So that makes sense then, Lee. That's my confusion. If they arrive at the end of August, then they're looking at end of September roughly for.
Yeah, you'll be done the end of September if they arrive the end of, because it's not a lot of work to get them landed. That'll occur in a day, because you're not gonna want the crane for more than a day. It's just gonna be whatever final hookups they have to do.
Yeah.
And that, depending upon the size of the crew, that might take a week or two. But you don't, just some advice, don't let them get behind on the schedule early. Keep after them to meet all their milestones. And I wish the OPM was on tonight, but apparently he's not showing up, so.
Well, they were all in the building yesterday and they all walked through. They put marks on the areas they're gonna start with on Monday. They're gonna bring equipment in tomorrow. So I think they're kind of getting organized right on top. They're right on top of it, seems like so far, but I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, well, we have to, because like I said, if they get behind early, it isn't gonna get any better.
You're correct.
I'm assuming since they're going to be finishing and commissioning all of this once school starts, that they're planning on being there second shift doing a lot of the final work.
Yeah, I think
We
they'll
were gonna
be,
do 10-hour days is what they said they were gonna start with.
You mean
Yeah,
start with now, or I meant more like since September when they're finishing up and painting and doing ceilings and stuff. You know, it's just a lot harder because they got to clean up completely every day and get everything out of the way, and they can only work when school's not in session.
right. I get what you're saying.
Well, if they do it right, James, all the interior work should be pretty much done, except for a few areas where they gotta put heating coils or
Oh,
something.
Well,
It's
they
gonna be
have
the
on the
roof.
schedule the ceilings and painting work starting August 23rd.
Really? They're gonna wait that long, huh?
I mean, that's what's on the schedule. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
I'd get all that duct work in early, get that done.
I will say that when Steve Lucier presented this, he was saying that, and Steve and John presented it. They said that they would be, refining this as it went along. They were more looking at the dates for the equipment to arrive. And anytime they get if they get there earlier, obviously that's going to be better for us. So I think there'll be some push and pull on the schedule, I guess is what I'm trying to convey.
Yeah, and again, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, James, I didn't have a chance to review all the documents prior to this meeting, so I'm flying blind.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Is there any more discussion on the change order or the schedule?
No. I don't have
Good. All
anything to add.
Is there a motion to approve change order 1?
So moved.
Oh, second,
Second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Got it.
Motion passes unanimously.
Great.
All right. So the next 2 items are the invoices, Bob.
Yep, I have those. I put those in the packet. The
Yep.
one for Turner is, again, it's low hanging fruit at this point there. So I think it's like $185 or $285. The substantial one is the Torado. I'm not debating the value or the work. Louis C., I know you're on the call. I want to get a read from the committee on, is this what, I want to get the sequence of who does the OPM review and approve, and then we approve. Because I haven't gotten feedback from the OPM on this.
My opinion on the costs, your project manager, the owner's project manager is responsible for managing the project, which includes the cost. I would think that the owner's project manager needs to sign off first before it comes to us.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Even just as for all of invoices, you know, because they're going to begin
Correct.
to get substantial.
Correct.
So, I'm not sure how we want to proceed here. I can certainly reach out to Joe. The cover letter for this invoice was sent to, I just have the invoice here, but there was a cover letter that Toronto Architects sent, and it did go to Joe DeSanti. So I'm not sure where Downs is on this, but I can reach out to them. and
You haven't
see
seen any of this yet?
Who hasn't?
I was asking Lee if he'd seen any of that.
I haven't seen any of the documentation for this meeting. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
been
that's okay.
flat out
So-
for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, so in round numbers, it's a $250,000 invoice out of a total project fee of $315. And there's a cover letter explaining that. So I guess the question is, are we tabling it until the OPM submits it to us, or are we going to approve it pending the OPM's approval?
I mean, I would like the OPM to sign off on things first, because if there's any questions, you know, they're the ones that are managing the entire project. I mean, we can certainly approve it pending their approval, but
I think that's fair. Everybody's, you know, we don't want to, we want to make sure, we pride ourselves on paying our bills, so if the OPM gives the
Yeah, I mean,
okay,
I'm looking at it. I mean, what they're billing for, from what I can tell, is definitely all completed work.
correct.
So
I
really
did,
not much of a question.
yeah, I just want to make sure James and Lee and everybody else on the call is that we're consistent, because we're in the infancy of the project, and I just want to make sure as we move down the 17 million path that we just stay as tight on day one as we do on day whatever, you know, because, you know, I don't want to get out of sequence of paying because we have a vendor saying I need to be paid, and yet the committee hasn't acted, and then something bad happens, you know? And
yeah,
I want to have.
you should never pay a bill before the committee approves it, number one. And number two, I mean, in this particular case, having the committee approve it, to James's point, pending the OPM saying it's okay, that will speed this up. But in the future, I want the bills, or the bills should, not up to me, it's up to the committee. But in the future, the bills should come to us after the OPM's seen them and he said yes or no.
And Lee, to that point, that's kind of the conversation I want to have. So this goes with credits and it goes with change orders.
Yep.
So I don't think as the owner, EWG or the building committee should be getting any documentation without a sign off by the OPM, whether it's a credit, whether it's a change order, whether it's a bill.
I agree.
Because-
That's what we're paying them for.
Because what ends up happening is Tish is managing it, I'm managing it, Steve is managing it. Jeremy could have a hand in it, given the technology end of it. And it's just like, the process is change order, credit, invoice, OPM approves, signs off, moves it to the owner brings it to the building committee.
Well, there's another piece too, Bob, and the piece is, has the milestone been fully met before you know, there's going to be milestones, and at those milestones, you're going to be expected to make payment. And the only person who's really going to know if the milestone's been met is going to be the OPM.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. So, I mean, I'll leave it up to you, Bob. We can do these two one time and say pending the OPM's, or we can make them wait just to make them wait and get them used to that process. It doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, I really think it's, we get the, I don't like to hold, because we want to keep everybody moving here. I think if the OPM signs off on it, it's a perfect example to leverage it and say, you got to get serious about this. You know,
One other thing I will mention though is, after tonight, I am not available until the 15th of July. So if we don't do the approval tonight, pending the OPM approval, nothing gets done until after the 15th of July, because I'm on vacation finally.
Yeah, well deserved. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people, I know I'm in it out too. So, good. I think we got our marching orders. We've got Jim and Tish and Jeremy on the phone, and Steve. We'll work with the OPM. Make sure they get us on track. Because there is this concept that they floated earlier, if you remember, that they were going to have a schedule of payments for the duration of this project.
Absolutely.
And I've yet to see that deliverable either. So
Well,
we'll have a conversation tomorrow.
yep.
All right.
And can we stick with change orders for a minute, Bob?
Sure.
With change orders, you mentioned credits.
Yeah.
I think, and this is just my opinion, but I think that if there is and again, I don't know what the contract says, but if, there may be some question with the contract, but if there is a credit, I would like to see the credit handled by a formal change order process as well. And not just, it's out there on the books and it winds up getting rolled into something else.
Okay.
I understand it being a firm fixed price contract and it's a not to exceed, so it may be a little bit sticky on the credit side, but I mean, let's just say they open something up and they find there's no real work to be done here. And they decide, well, in the interest of schedule or whatever, and the fact that nothing's wrong, let's leave it alone. And everybody agrees to it. Well, that's a credit.
Right. Exactly. And when you look at those schedule of values, Lee, I mean, I've worked with you long enough. You're going to say there's no way those costs, should cost that much unless there's something there that you don't know about. But I think they're weighted a little. I think there's opportunity for credits. And I just want to make sure, to your point, they're handled and documented.
So I take it, well, actually, James, this is James's meeting. Sorry.
That's fine. So what did we land on? Are we going to do this pending OPM just because Lee's not going to be available or not?
Well, let's do that because, like you said, he won't be available till the 15th of July. And let's not make this a regular thing.
Agreed.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. So let's just approve both of them then, pending OPM. Is there a motion to approve both invoices pending OPM approval?
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Stephen Turner. So what's the remaining capital project ride submission review item, Bob?
So, I don't know, Louis C., maybe you can talk about this if you've got any insight. It's just the balance of the projects, that the roofs, the playground and the science lab and the greenhouse. And it's just, kind of the sequence of those projects. Does the committee have, I know that I'm sensing that they're going to do it as one complete package, as one submittal, but I don't know if that's true, Louis C. Do you have any on that? Any info?
I haven't been as intimately involved with that right now, but I do know, from my understanding, I believe they were looking at doing potentially 3 different submissions. I believe the roof was one, the interior work, and the greenhouse as another, and I'm not recalling the third.
The Walloon Playground.
Yes.
Probably the site work.
Yeah. My understanding was to do them as 3 separate, and that's as far as the last conversation I've had on the matter where we were at.
Yeah, and that sounds right in talking with Lewis, is that they're going to be, like, the roofing contract is gonna be bid just to the roofing contractor. They're not gonna GC all three of them, I don't think. And then the site work would be to site people. Narragansett Improvement would be one. They've done like Lynham Playground. They did
Tennis courts.
yeah, they did the tennis courts, and they did the outside science labs at the junior high school. So I think, and then the greenhouses is or the interior work, I guess, is the,
You're muted. Bob, you're muted by accident.
that was my phone ringing. The interior is the science labs and the auditorium. Science labs at the senior high and auditoriums at the junior high. I mean, junior, senior high. So anyway, that, I think it was just, I don't know. I just want to make sure that anybody has a preference or not a preference as to what we do first, or I just put it on there just as a, that's really the next thing. And they've got to start working on that. My understanding is that would be like probably a September, October submittal bid around the first of the year, an award, and then they'd be ready to go as soon as the temperatures are right for the site work, and as soon as the where they can get access to the schools for any of the projects that, if they can get a jump on it, then we'll do that. But that would be spring of 2022 awarding everything.
Well, the sooner the projects are able to be done, the sooner we will know for sure the amount of our bonuses, and the sooner we'll be able to collect that massive lump that we're expecting to get, right, according to the payment schedule. So we just want to make sure that we're not holding off on any of the submittals. We need to be ready to go. Obviously the HVAC system was our big thing, but nothing else is really that level of emergency. So whatever makes sense, just get it done and get it in so we're ready to go on the next project.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, I do have one. So I know it's kind of like it percolates up and then it goes away because we're all busy and we're doing different things, but I don't know if Steve is on the call, but they being, I believe, someone from Toronto's office, I think it was Robert, and I think someone else, another greenhouse person, were out looking at the greenhouse a couple of weeks ago.
That's
I'm
correct.
not gonna, and there's, so that has a heating system, it has a water system, it has, kind of like the hip wall, and then I forget the name of it, it's escaped me now, but the greenhouse glass over the top of it, but it's not glass. Anyway, there's a low cost to have someone, a third party, come in and professionally evaluate the greenhouse and say, this is worth saving, and it's going to cost you this much if you want to do what you want to do to it, whatever it is that we do want to do to it. And then the opinion could be, there's really nothing here that's salvageable, and you might as well just go with a brand new from the ground up, which is where we're at. That's where we're at, ground up. The cost in talking with Lou was, he said it could be anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 to have a third party come in and do that evaluation for us. I don't know if the building committee is interested in that, or where we are, if anybody has opinion. But the last conversation I had with Lou is he's looking for direction because he's got to put that bid spec together.
My personal opinion is that there's a lot of political conversation around that greenhouse. And I think $1,500 to get a professional opinion on whether or not it's not salvageable is going to be well worth the investment, because that is the biggest thing getting feedback across our communities.
Let me fill you in on some of the history of the greenhouse, just so everybody knows what's going on. And I don't disagree that we should get a professional opinion on whether that greenhouse is salvageable or not. The greenhouse was built with FFA money many years ago. It was never paid for by the school. It was donated. And again, the loss of the FFA program has a lot of people in this town upset. And I mean, we're an agricultural community, both Exeter and West Greenwich, and it should upset both communities that the FFA program went down the tubes. And it wasn't the fault of the current administration. It was the fault of the prior administration and the way they identified the contracts and hired folks.
Lee, for the record, we have it back, you know.
Well, I'm glad we have it back, believe me. I was not aware of that, but that's a good thing. So there is a desire concerning the greenhouse because, again, it was paid for with private money. The other concern that I'm aware of with the greenhouse being tied to the town council, however we design the one that goes on to the building, it needs to be facing the right direction so that it gets the proper sunlight. The way they had it originally designed, it was facing in the wrong direction and it wouldn't get the sunlight. It may mean we have to take some trees down too. So, because it is pretty wooded back there. So anyway, those are the things that I understand are the political hot buttons. And, you know, I don't know what the condition of the current greenhouse is. I haven't been in it probably in close to 10 or 12 years. But 10 or 12 years ago, I thought it was in pretty sad shape. So, because it was never really maintained properly.
If we don't have a professional opinion on this, this conversation is not going away in the community, and it's a big deal. It is a big deal right now.
You're absolutely right.
And
They told me they would let me know in a couple of weeks on what they're looking at. The company that came out.
Say that again, Steve?
The company that came out said we have information in a couple of weeks.
All right.
Was
So
that
we-
a separate company that came out?
I think they came out and just to look at the project or to look at the property. I think what Lou is saying is that in order for them to do a professional write-up and then come back out again and probably dig a little deeper into. Steve, does that have running water to it? I know it has a heating system.
It has running water, but the plumbing is in rough shape. It's always breaking every year. We're constantly working on it.
So I think that's what they got a general sense of that, James and Lee, but I think if we're saying, let's go to the next level, like give us a report, they're gonna come back out, identify and take notes on the mechanicals and probably ask for more data. I mean, that
I agree.
burn oil like nothing.
It's probably both money well spent and wasted. You know, unfortunately, the people that are going to complain are probably going to look at the report and not believe it or whatever, but we still should do it.
Correct.
Well, could we offer it to the people who are complaining and let them come and take the thing away? They can do what they want with it. I mean, what are we going to lose? I mean, somebody will benefit from it. I mean, the structure that holds up the glass and the plastic's still good. The last I looked, it's rotted along the bottom, but
Yeah, the hip wall's gone.
yeah,
There's holes in the roof too. There's leaks in the roof of the greenhouse.
Just a thought. Sounds like a basket case.
But I think that for $1,500 or $2,000, I don't even care if we bring that to the school committee and have them take it out of the, the capital fund that we have, school improvement fund, whatever makes sense. But it's a small amount of money.
It'll avoid a lot of aggravation. I agree with you.
Yes, because trust me, this is the thing that I get the most number of calls on. And
Yeah, and I know who's beating the drum. And you know who's beating the drum too.
I sure do. I sure do.
But the problem is that it was given, it was donated, and
Yeah, I get it.
and there's hard feelings involved. So
But I'm just trying to take care of it. I'm just
No, I
trying to take
understand.
care of the issue so we can have a good program. But I don't
understand.
want the politics and the hard feelings from the past getting in the way of the progress of our program. So I think,
I agree.
again, I don't want to die on a sword over this, but I think $1,500 is not a big ask to take care of a huge political problem right now.
I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But the only thing I do ask is make sure that the design of the new one, it's facing the right direction. It's got plenty of sunlight, because if that goes in where it was originally proposed, that's going to fly like a lead balloon too.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that when the time comes.
Pay the professionals actually to make the recommendation for you.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like we're all on board for this. Is this something we should vote on, Bob, or is it just fine?
Thank you for letting me know.
It's
Yeah, so
Is it on the agenda, Bob, or should you
No,
just?
No, it's not on the
it's
agenda.
just
I just
final.
looked.
mean, we could just do it by consensus right now, and then,
Bring it to the school committee, Bob.
yeah,
I mean, it's a small amount of money. We take it out of the fund balance or whatever to just
Right.
get it done.
I agree.
Sounds good.
think that was really the impetus behind those remaining projects, James.
Can we back up one
right.
subject though, Bob? Because I got interrupted by a lengthy phone call explaining my wife's doctor's appointment in COVID. But prior to the discussion on the greenhouse, well, they leave the message twice because they can do it with computer now, and it takes an hour. So there was a topic prior to the greenhouse. What was that again? Because I had a comment.
It was the schedule of the other projects.
Yeah, I'm kind of in favor of what Jim said. Just kind of get the schedule laid out and get them all working on it and get it done so that we can just keep moving. And then talk to the OPM and try to find out what's going to fit best, given the lead times and whatnot, so that we can, just keep everything progressing. I mean, now's the time to look. We've got the approval for the money. We might as well move forward.
I think that the important thing for us is we also have this benchmark of an expected time when we're going to receive that big bonus money. Like that's in the schedule of payments. And if we don't hit that mark and we don't get that big sum of money at that time, going to the towns and saying, we didn't hit the mark, you're not going to get that big influx of money until next year. So you have to cover it this year. I mean, I'll get crucified.
Yeah, you absolutely will. So I agree with you. Get everything on the table. I mean, we've got the approval to spend the money. Get the planning aspects, get everything ready to go.
Yep.
Good.
That's my opinion. Thank you.
I think we're all on board with that. So, unless something changes on Friday or after it, the meeting next month on the 21st is going to be in person.
Correct.
Yes.
Looking forward to being out of cyberspace.
All right. Anything else? Any other comments, Bob?
Nope. Good.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Good
Okay,
night.
thank you.
Everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Everybody.